Cynthia Vigil Jaramillo says what she heard in David Parker Ray's torture chamber makes her believe there are other victims out there.
That scared me to death, what I went through.
Pulls out a badge and throws a handcuff on one of my wrists. I'm like, wait, no, this ain't right. You ain't a cop.
The man with the handcuffs was David Parker Ray.
Born in Belen, New Mexico in 1939, few would suspect David Parker Ray of having a dark side. He was known as friendly, intelligent, and charismatic by those who knew him. Ray was gifted mechanically, able to build and fix anything. This skill would later assist him in creating his torture devices. Ray served in the U.S. Army from 1961 to 1964. After leaving the service, he graduated from New Mexico State University with a bachelor's degree in political science. He went on to work a variety of jobs, including mechanic, electronics technician, and medical technician. To the outside world, Ray appeared to be an upstanding citizen who lived a quiet life in Elephant Butte, New Mexico. But behind this facade lurked a sadistic monster with a penchant for kidnapping, rape, torture, and murder. Ray committed his first known killing in 1961 at just 22 years old. For close to 40 years, Ray honed his skills as a torturer, keeping his activities well hidden from the outside world. To satiate his dark desires, Ray converted a mobile home near Elephant Butte into a vicious torture chamber. Ray referred to his trailer as the toy box, equipped with all manner of restraints and tools used to inflict maximum pain. Inside the toy box, Ray had saws, clamps, straps, surgical blades, and whips to restrain and torture his victims. He also created and used several customized devices designed to penetrate and administer electrical shocks. An obscene collection of photos depicting tormented women covered the walls. The toy box was soundproofed to muffle the screams of Ray's victims. He played loud music to further mask the anguished cries coming from inside. Ray sometimes recorded the torture sessions and would play them back for his victims' entertainment.
Okay, we both know what you've been brought here for. A lot of and your wrists and ankles are chained and you're gagged because you're not going to like the way I do it. You're going to be kept here naked and chained down. I'm going to use you for a sex slave.
Ray employed cunning tactics to trap his victims. He would pose as an undercover police officer to convince women like Cynthia Vigil to accompany him back to the toy box. Once inside, a prolonged nightmare awaited them. Some estimates say Ray tortured and killed 60 or more women, though the true number remains unknown. Inside the trailer, Ray had an established ritual for new captives. He would hang an ice pick around their neck, containing a paper note warning them to cooperate or be stuck with the pick. Victims were stripped naked and strapped to a gynecologist-style table. Ray would put headphones on them and play a tape-recorded message describing in graphic detail the horrors that awaited them. This included beatings, electric shocks, rape, and possibly being murdered and disposed of in the desert. A nightmarish array of instruments filled the toy box to inflict maximum suffering. A ceiling mirror added a diabolical touch, forcing victims to confront their own torment. Ray employed all manner of sexual torture on his victims. He used electric shocks to their genitals, inserted objects into them, and penetrated them in whatever way he desired. Investigators found many accessories inside the toy box to violate and inflict pain on women. Ray got aroused from hearing their cries for mercy. Sometimes Ray would have a woman captive for days, subjecting her to his disturbing games. Other victims did not survive the initial encounter. To impair their memory, Ray would inject victims with sedatives and chemicals like sodium pentothal and phenobarbital after finishing with them. He would then dump the victim, still alive in most cases, letting them recover without recollection of what happened. This rendered many survivors with only hazy recollections, making it difficult to piece together the extent of their trauma. While Ray acted alone initially, his girlfriend Cindy Hendy later became an eager participant in the horror show. Hendy helped bring women to the toy box and joined in the savage sexual abuse. She was known for her cruelty, violating victims with objects while laughing at their agony. Hendy was turned on by the torture and domination of the women. In one instance, Hendy's daughter was unknowingly involved. Her daughter provided an unsuspecting friend a ride to Ray's trailer for a supposed party. The friend was subsequently kidnapped, tortured, and raped for 15 hours by Ray and Hendy inside the toy box. She was later drugged and released alive. Even Ray's own daughter, Glenda Jessie Ray, was convicted for her role in the 2001 abduction of a woman. His depraved spree involved more than just Ray himself. In March 1999, one of Ray and Hendy's victims, Cynthia Vigil, managed to escape the toy box after several days of torture. This prompted a police investigation that finally brought their crimes to light. Investigators found the torture chamber outfitted with all kinds of restraints, sex toys, medical equipment, and Ray's tape recordings detailing the horrors that took place inside. Police were able to match Ray's voice on the tapes to a previous victim who had reported her abduction and torture in 1997. But with no evidence at the time, Ray went free after that incident. After the 1999 escapee, law enforcement had solid proof of Ray's crimes. Ray and Hendy were both charged and indicted for kidnapping and sexual abuse. Ray was suspected of killing up to 60 women over 4 decades. Though he was only convicted for 3 homicides, he pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty and received a sentence of 224 years. Just months later, he died of a heart attack at age 62 in an Indiana prison hospital. Hendy cooperated with investigators, providing details about Ray's crimes in exchange for a reduced sentence. She pled guilty to sexual assault and conspiracy involving kidnapping and received 36 years in prison. She is up for parole in 2023. While many questions remain, the most important outcome was shutting down the toy box and its reign of sadistic terror once and for all. How many women Ray ultimately tortured and killed may never be known. His crimes serve as a reminder of the depraved extremes that some humans will sink to when their twisted desires are unchecked and left to manifest in the shadows.